Okay, hi, we're back, right, Evie girl? And aloha, everyone. Um, we're back. And I want to start this video by saying just how much has happened over the course of these months. I've been learning a lot, and I just feel so much different than when I started making these videos. It's like night and day. So I want to just acknowledge how far we've come, how much I appreciate, and like literally from the bottom of my soul, thank you for how you've rallied around each other and me. Devi agrees. Yeah, I'm incredibly grateful for people that I don't even know who have stood up at the plate and gone to bat for me. And this is an ongoing social justice movement, to be honest. And I'm just a small player in everything that's going on. Today, I really feel called, like today is the day I want to tell the story of Veronica. I want to tell you about the one time that I ever met her and how our lives coincided. And again, like to all of her friends and her family, I am so incredibly sorry about your loss. She was gone from this plane too early, and although I only ever met her one time and literally just was introduced to her, I felt the strength and the fire of her soul, and she forever impacted my life. And I so wish that she was still here. I so wish that she could still be here. I so wish that it would have gone another way for her, but I'm just me. I can only control my life, and even then it's not really even in my control. I'm just given the breath each time I'm given it. And I have faith that she's in a beautiful place, and I have faith that she'll be doing great things from where she is now. So the last day I was ever at the studio, the last day I ever saw, well, her or that person up until the court date was this day. And it was May 2nd, 2019. No, 2018, sorry. And it was at the teacher training group practice. So teachers that had already gone through the teacher training, or people who were doing the teacher training, would practice. So it was like, it wasn't a class, it was in the conference room, and RP and I were like on whatever kind of weird terms we were on at this point. Like the night before, he had said, "Are you coming to practice tomorrow? Or are you coming to class tomorrow?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna come," like, because I was just feeling weird about things. Like, for example, that Veronica was staying with him at his house while she was doing the teacher training. And I know when I talk about this kind of stuff, like, people might think, whoa, that's so, like, why would she have ever been okay with that? Or there's so many red flags. But like, when you're in it and your mind is not your own, and you've been subjected to years and years and years of brainwashing amongst all other things, like, like I told you before, I literally thought at one point, and I know other women thought this, and I think even still think this to this day, like, oh, it's my life's work to work for him, or to assist him, or like keep him going ahead, or fight his mission, or just like devote your life to him. And there's beautiful things about the feeling of devotion, and when it's reciprocated and when it's safe, but that can really be misused by people in power. Quiet. Hey. So, Veronica, thank you. Thank you for your life. Thank you for helping change my life just from being who you are. And I'm so sorry that I wasn't able to do more to help you at that time. But I just really hope and pray that what I'm doing now and what I've been doing and what other people are doing, you would be supportive of and are there on the other side, like supporting us. So Veronica was younger, like I think she was in her early 20s when she was doing this training, and that would set like the person doing the teacher trainings almost at double her age, like. And okay, people can say, oh, they're all adults, they can make their own decisions, all that. But when there's a imbalance of power like that, and also such a huge age difference, there's things that just are not equal. And there was many things that were just like, yeah, not equal in that situation. And he came in with this savior complex, like, I'll help you, you need help. And he would even say this to us, like some of us other yoga girls, he would say like, oh, she really needs the help right now, like, don't say anything to her, like basically just go along with it, and don't, if you mess this up, if you get in the way, then like you're gonna have some of your privileges, or you're gonna have some of your benefits be taken away, or maybe even classes, or maybe even an entire job that you've worked so hard to get, like teaching at that studio. So I ended up, like, I was not teaching at the studio at this point because it had just gotten like too crazy. Like there was way too much shit happening, and I was like sort of in, sort of out, like this gray area where like he would keep people there a lot, like push away and then pull back in, and then push away and then pull back in. And that's why for me, the only true healing has come when there has been absolutely zero contact. And I think that is the way to go with people like this. Like there's no reasoning with them. There's no like, oh, let's talk, let's discuss. Like he doesn't want to change. He's never wanted to change. And when people have come to him with issues, it's never been about like actual change. Sometimes he gets fired up and pissed that someone's telling him how to act. And other times it would just be like, oh, appeasing. Okay, yeah, I'll hear that, but I'm not actually gonna take any action on it. Like just push it under the rug and keep going. So the night before the teacher training practice, he was on the phone with me and he's like, oh yeah, well, oh, things are going okay, like with V. And I was sort of like, are you in a relationship with her or what's going on? And he said, oh no, like she just needs help. So whatever that means, because like, don't believe when a guy says that his cock can heal you. It ain't true, okay? Like, no, you can do it yourself. You can heal yourself. No insertion of a man's member into your body is gonna, like, it's just an age-old lie. Don't believe it. So I was actually looking forward to meeting Veronica because she was in Vancouver. Like, sometimes she would come and visit or whatever, but I was sort of like trying to keep my distance. But this was a day when he's like, hey, you're coming to class tomorrow. Can't wait for this to all be over so that you and I can be together. And like, I love you. I love you. Like, you're the one I love. Like, I love you. Again, like this whole singling out and to make me feel special and keep me like in a little spot, you know? And honestly, that used to make me feel like good, like, okay, I'm special, you know? But I've really gotten like, learned a lot about what that manipulation technique can actually look like and how I was being manipulated in those situations. And I know everyone else was too. And this is still going on to this day because people don't change. And I think we've all seen from everything that's transpired that there is definite neglect and defiance of any type of responsibility or accountability on his part from these things. So I just hope, I really hope, I hope and pray that no one else has to go through what any of us did. Girls, I know a lot of them, me too, are still hurting. Like, and it's years. So it's just to show that these experiences don't just go away, or they're not like we have a right to be angry, and it's not our whole personality or our whole living, but what happened to us and the complexity of the trauma and the uniqueness of each different individual woman's experience and how he preyed on vulnerabilities and weaknesses and past experiences is very different. But the overarching theme is cruelty, is straight up cruelty. And women just want to move on with their life, basically. Just like, oh my God, that was so terrible. I don't want to think about it. There's enough bad things going on. Just on a moment, daily basis, I don't have the energy or the stamina to look back and go back onto all those other times and experiences. So some people will never want to talk about this. And I've had to learn that that is okay. I used to not have that same type of understanding or appreciation and about that. I acknowledge that there's things over this time that I have also, like, I'm not all good in this, or I'm not just like all perfect. Like, I have both been abused and I've also dealt out some sort of like maybe what would not be helpful. Like, I'm both, you know what I mean? And I think the fact that like I don't need to be just seen as just like the good girl anymore or the nice girl, And also, I'm not taking on the identity of like, oh, wow, she's such a bee for going online and telling all of these privacy and blah, blah, blah. Like, anyone who has anything to say about the way that anyone talks or expresses their story, it's tone policing. Like, if someone is brave enough to tell their story and share their experiences, like, just be a good listener. You know, it's not that you have to take on what happened to us or happened to an individual or another, but just to hold space and acknowledge, wow, you went through that. Like, we don't need you to try and make it better for us. We don't need you to try and, like, probably if someone's sharing, that's a big step for them. So Veronica, with a K, she had such beautiful blue eyes. She had a definite spark and spunk about her. Like, her Instagram was Fire Soul Baby. And like, I always really felt for her, but I was also so feeling for myself at the time. And I was so messed up myself that I wasn't like thinking straight or didn't have my like straight emotions. I was moving from a place of like, yeah, trauma, ongoing trauma. And I was still in the trauma. Like, I was still in the toxicity. I was starting to get out, but this was the day, like, meeting her, when that was the straw that broke my camel's back. The teacher training room was full. It was always like a very palpable energy in that space. And, you know, for those of us that got to experience the power of those practices, like, that was real. That was something that we can still feel good about and like remember. It doesn't have to be totally like, oh, all, you know, tossed in mud. Like, just keep that in mind, because I don't want you to feel bad about those memories, and I don't want to feel bad about them either. So everyone's all like ready with their space, you know, all their props and like their books and everything. So there's the students that are already taking the teacher training, like that are in the 200-hour training. And then there's like a whole row of people who are coming that have been past teachers. And I got there, you know, like 5-10 minutes before class, and he and V showed up about like 10 minutes late for what practice time was supposed to start. And already I was just sort of irked by this, like by the unprofessionalism and how that looked on as to me, how it reflected on all of us and the entire school, that he showed up to his teacher training class with a student and they were late, and like they just came in with a whole vibe, you know? And I know those of you that were like there know what I'm talking about, or how that could feel, like coming in like a wind, like, you know. And she's wearing some of his like malas or whatever, and he's like wearing her sunglasses, like this kind of like, you can tell that they didn't just like meet up in the elevator, like they were showing up to class together. And I just wasn't willing to like go with this anymore, and to have this type of like embarrassment or like just lies and deceit and icky feelings. So that's how the class started. But I was like, you know what? I'm here. I'm just going to practice. I'm going to like leave right after and like stay in my own lane. This is, you know, my business. Don't get into that business. Like, just take care of myself here. And I can't remember when I started looking around the room, if it was like before, during, or in the breathing. But I started thinking like, oh my God, Kate, he slept with that girl. He slept with that girl. Okay, I don't know if he slept with that girl, but he slept with her. And I just like literally, there was like 3 females in the class that he had not been like intimate with at some time or another. And he was just like all big shot, like big shot energy and all this. And I'm just like looking around, seeing the faces of these beautiful women and girls and women, like all ages, spanning, you know, from 19 to like 40 something. And the sheer amount, like the percentage, and I just knew, oh my God, well, he would sleep with her if, you know what I mean? And he would, like, he's probably trying to sleep with every single person and have this be okay. Like, how is it that all these women sitting here in here are thinking like, wow, this is great. This is for my development. Like, I'm special, or this is special, or that was special what happened with me, and maybe it will happen again. Like, even if it wasn't good, or even if it was felt uncomfortable, it's almost like, but if it happens again, then it's not as bad. Like, it's not RAPE if it happens again. It's not SA if it happens more than once. Like, but that's just like a way of trying to like move on with your life and package up what happened to you and put it on a shelf, make it look pretty. But underneath all that wrapping, like the truth of it is that like he assaulted, you know what I mean? Like, that happened. And yeah, I think that's the part that's like, even people who are probably in it right now have a hard time understanding, like juggling through, sifting through all those emotions to really find out like the truth, because you've given like one of your ears away, you've given away a part of your brain, and it's in like this sociopath's hands. And like, that's great. He's just like juggling with all these different people's like emotions and feeling like he's the mystical, magical one in the center who is orchestrating it all. So I was looking around, I'm like, oh my God, he has slept with a high percentage of people in this class who are teachers, who are in their teacher training. Like, this is wrong. Deep down, this is wrong. I cried during that class when he gave me like a strong adjustment. And like, I knew something was about, like, I could just feel it. And but this is what happened. So we finish up class right away. I pack up all my stuff and I go to the back. I'm the first one at the back of the room to leave the room, while he zoop from the, you know what I mean, beelined it and like basically blocked the door from me leaving. And he was like, because I was like feeling things. I was like having a awakening, a realization, and he could feel it. He could see it. He wanted to stop it. He wanted to get me. He was like, hey, like, what are you doing for lunch? And I was like, oh, like just going home with Tiffany for lunch. Just trying to get out of there, like holding it in, you know what I mean? Repressing it down, like. And he was like, oh, you look so beautiful today. Oh, like, did you have a good practice? And I was literally just like, yeah, trying to get out of there. And then another girl from Vancouver comes and she's like trying to talk to me, and I barely could talk to her. Like I was starting to have like panic feelings because I was like seeing what was happening, and like that this was happening to not just me, these lies and like the way I was getting played hard, dragged around through the mud, and expected to like still be so clean. Like he's like, oh, I just drag you through all that mud. Like, why are you so dirty? Like, come on. I don't know, as an example. So I was talking to her, or like barely, just like this time feels very like fragmented, like sharp, like tingling, like high, like there's mosquitoes all around you and you're just like, ah, you know, and you've already been bitten by bees and you're like itchy and you're just like, ah. And so I barely could say anything. I just wanted to get out of that room. And then Veronica came, you know, because she was probably having some feels, like just ridiculous how it was all happening. And how someone would like that. Like, how would you enjoy being that man? Like, how would you feel? So she comes up and I see her and I'm just like blown away by her energy. Like, she's just like, she's on the high that I myself was once on. She was on the high that like any other girl who's been in that position, you know, you can see, you can sense that attitude and that feeling where you think you're the special one. You think like you're the only, like you have no idea what's actually going on. You're just like, oh, I'm staying at his house and I'm like this. And so she comes up and she's just like she was like petite and like had some cool fashion on and had like really dark hair and like had lots of tattoos. Like her energy was just like, you know, I'd want to hang out with her. Like she would be like a great party planner, you know. She's like, hi. I'm like, hi. She's like, he's like, you know, juggling all this thing. He's like, oh, Veronica, this is Kenna, an old friend. And I just looked at her and she looked at me like so innocent. And I just like, the whole slate was wiped clean. It was like I was living in like a foggy, smoked out box that was only foggier and foggier. And then for that one moment, my eyes went right up to the screen and it was like clear as day, and I could see, and everything dropped. And I looked at him, I could see that he saw that I could see what was going on, or that I saw him for who he was. And he started to like panic, like not want me to leave the room. And I was just like, I don't even think I said it was nice to meet her or anything. We locked eyes. He introduced me as an old friend. I saw what she was in for and I cracked. I ran out of that room. I went down the hallway and into the like building's bathroom, the general bathroom. And I just dropped all my stuff. And I stood there and I just felt like I have to scream. Like I have to scream. And I just went, I let it out. And it just like, I could feel it like crack through, like shatter through. And I just went into the bathroom stall. And went down a 45-minute long panic attack. Like the first panic attack, the worst panic attack I've ever had. I had panic attacks after that, and I had had panic attacks like before that, but I didn't know that that was what it was. But this was like my whole world was shattered because I saw, oh my God, he is doing this to her too. I am not the only one. I am not special in this. He is lying to me. He is lying to her. He is lying to every single one. And I will not be a part of this anymore. So I didn't have the 45-minute panic attack in that bathroom. My friend Tiffany came to the bathroom and was like, Kenna, are you okay? I said, we need to go. We need to go. She picked up my stuff. I came out of the bathroom. I was like just holding it together because I didn't know who I was going to see walking down. I'm like, I know some people saw me. I know some people were like, what? But she was such a good friend. She just like protected me. We went straight down to the car in the parkade. And that's where I had like the craziest breathing happen. And she was just the amazing friend as anyone could be. She was there with me. She never told me to calm down. She never told me to stop. She just said, like, let it out. Let it out. This is okay. You're okay. You're okay. I'm here. You're safe. So I could have that process. I could have that reality actually sink in. I'm so grateful for her and the way that she handled that situation with me. Basically just like protecting me, protecting my space, and not trying to make me be better or make me be anything, but just she saw the levity, not levity, the intensity. Levity is like lightness. But with that too, she saw that, yeah, this was going to be okay. This was something that needed to happen. This is something I needed to go through. This was serious. And I would just say that to anyone else, you know, of someone who's going through intense emotions. Like the worst thing you can do is tell them like calm down, like don't be upset, it's not so bad. Like, no, let the person have their feelings. Let the person have the natural physiological reaction to a realization. I wasn't hurting anybody else. Like, we were in private, and I'm forever grateful. She's an amazing person. I don't know, like, if she hadn't have been there, you know, if he would have like tried to get in the middle, or like it just could have been. But that was the last time I ever saw him, and that was the one and only time I ever saw her, because after that I was zero contact. After that I went to the doctor. I had to get on like benzos to actually like get to a place where I could function, like Ativan, you know, like, because after that I was still having panic attacks, like because of the denial of people. Him and my roommate at the time like actually like took his side and is still fully on his side, and like has even tried to, after all that, after how he saw that that affected me, still tried to be like, but you'll forgive him, right? Like, you clearly don't get it. You clearly are not listening, don't want to listen. And yeah, that person is highly problematic, along with his partner. So I saw in her eyes when she looked at me the innocence, the pride, the unknowing the lies. I saw the path that was ahead for her, and I knew that he was cruel. I knew that he was an MF. So all I could do at that point was save myself. I was like, I have to get out of this toxic situation. This is not true. This is lies, what's happening here. People are being hurt and abused. And like, with her, with Veronica, he said like, she needs help. Like, I'm going to help her. I'm going to help her. What she really needed, what would have actually really helped her, is actually getting her proper help, instead of feeding your ego and giving yourself a project of someone to help, when that girl really needed actual help, as did I, as did all of us, as do all of us. And I just hope, I pray, I know, I have faith that each one of us are on our own healing journeys with all of this. But God bless, rest in peace, Veronica. Her healing journey has taken her to heaven, because she passed away from a drug overdose. I don't know if it was on purpose or accident, but she was doing drugs, heavy drugs that, you know, drugs aren't what they used to be because of the fentanyl and all of that. But if you're doing drugs like cocaine, or, you know what I mean, fentanyl, like, you have some pain inside of you and some sun salutations and some like nadi shodhana is not going to bring you back into balance. What you need is like different kind of therapy, and you don't need to be around someone who's also going to engage in those drug behaviors with you, which is what like he was doing. And she needed real help. Who am I to judge? Like, who am I? But obviously she passed away under his care. And that could have been me. If I had stayed, if I had not met her that day, if I had not met eyes with her that day and seen the truth in her, in me, that could have been me. Because I've had to fight for my life to get to where I am to this point, as everyone else has. Like, life ain't easy, especially being like a woman in the world out there. That's, you know, it's literally a dangerous place, and it's compounded danger when the person that you go to for care, the person that is supposed to like be your caretaker, is also the one that's giving you the trauma, that's giving you the pain, the problems, and also maybe even engaging. It's like a part of the problem. I feel hesitant sometimes to end the videos, because I'm like, I don't want to end on that note. But then I'm like, I don't, you know, this is already 40 minutes, and I know that these aren't like, you know, quick 5-minute TikTok or like 30-second TikTok videos. This is like, yeah, this is a whole story. This is, you know, you're with me from start to finish. But I really appreciate you for taking the time to care, taking the time out of your day to hear this story, regard with reverence this young woman's life and how that loss, how she had so much potential, and that was just like siphoned. That was siphoned into a person, into a being that never had any type of intention of, or maybe like didn't actually know ever to how to help to get you to get healthy, because they still had their own issues and have their own issues to deal with. And what you really needed was a soft, warm bed. And I know you had friends, like, I know you have friends that still love you, and I've lost like people who I actually met more than once, you know? And I think that's too why it just like, it's not just her, it's the others as well. And how we are all adults and we want to respect each other's choices, but we are also in this together and we affect each other. And when there's like abuse happening to one person, it affects lots of other people as well. And so within that, I think like if we can rally around people more, be more honest with them, help them get the resources. And I think we are at a different place than we were 4 years ago. And for that, I feel happy. There's way more like growth to be done. But even sharing this story, you know, this is something that I've been not ready to. And yeah, here it is. So I hope that you have a wonderful day, evening, weekend, whatever it is when you watch this video. Sending you clearing diamond-like energy. Bye for now. Mwah.